Hey, what is up guys? So we are going to be doing two different deck profiles, but they will be both of the same deck or same archetype, the KOZMOs. Now if you guys haven't seen what the KOZMOs do, even though these are two different builds, the other video is going to basically show you guys the basic concept of the deck. Because if you guys haven't seen how the deck runs, basically you're going to be dealing a lot of damage, if not OTKing your opponent. And then when your opponent tries to attack, you're going to deny them with things like Dueling, things like Honest, or your opponent might not be able to do anything because they can't target Forerunner, which is a very strong card in the deck. But the concept of the deck is relatively simple. It's basically just summon monster attack, summon another monster attack, summon another monster attack. It's really easy to actually understand the basic concepts of the deck. Anyways, like I said, there are two different builds. One of them is one that I made. I think that it has a really good matchup against people that have been net decking card for card Jeff Jones's build, because a lot of people, you know, they go with whatever the popular people are playing. They'll just net deck the build. And this one actually, the one that I made, actually has a better matchup, specifically if you're playing against the people that net deck the other KOZMOs deck. But anyways, that said, let's finally get into the deck profiles, and I'll explain all the choices as we go along. And if you're just here to net deck, I'll put the YDK file down below in the description box for both the different builds. So the first one is mine, and the other one is Jeff Jones. This one, like I said, is a cheese build, so it does, you know, basically cheese your opponent out of a win, essentially. But like I said, if you're playing against other people that are playing the other build, you're gonna have a better matchup just because you're able to tribute their stuff, which is really useful because they can't honest you, and you're gonna be finishing them off relatively quick. But anyways, that's how the deck runs. So first off, I got 3 copies of the Forerunner. I got 3 copies of Gores, just because I want to be able to survive. We are playing technically 3 Overdrive Teleporters. You can only use this effect essentially once, unless of course you're playing some other cards that let you recycle, but you only need its effect once to go off. If you draw the 2 cards, yes, I understand, but if you draw 3 Tengu, that's also bad. It doesn't matter, just play it. It works. It's cheesy. That's the point of the deck in the first place. Again, you're basically going to be trying to OTK super fast in this deck. Then next up we have 3 of the KOZMO Slip Rider. Then we have 3 KOZMO Good Witch. I do want to mention first off, unless they just updated it, Good Witch effect doesn't work properly in DevPro yet, so just keep that in mind. That will obviously be fixed later down the line, but that is something that needs to be done in order to make especially this build much more viable. It's just because, yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, bugs happen in the game. So yeah, I just want to mention first off, yeah, Good Witch doesn't have her effect properly stated in DevPro yet, but yeah, it'll be fixed later on anyways. Next up, we have 3 of the Dueling, fantastic card, and then we got the 2 Honests, and then we have 3 Farm World. Basically, you get out double Farm World. Farm Worlds can actually trigger multiple of their effects. Well, the fact that you get to add a KOZMOs card, which is actually really important, especially if you're going to be getting rid of them anyways. Just nice to have those extra KOZMO cards. Really good stuff here. And you'll notice I'm not playing the field spell. The field spell can be oriented around a different playstyle, but this build, like I said, guys, is a cheese build. So don't even need it. It doesn't let you OTK as fast. Well, I mean, tactically with this, you can kind of get another card back, but pretty much, I don't think it's necessary. Anyways, 3 Maxi, it's an OTK deck. You want to get as many parts for your combos as quick as possible. Then I'm playing a Regeki. Then I'm playing 2 copies of Sacred Sword of 7 stars, just like the other. But basically, I took his build and I made it so it was more cheesy. Then we got 2 of the Dark Holes, limiter removal, 3 E-Tellies, 2 of my Bodies of Shield. I just want to be able to say, like, you know, a chainable, that just be like no torrential. You know, that's basically what the other archetype plays. Well, there is technically Book of Moon, but for the most part, this is going to get rid of those mirror forces and things that prevent you from OTKing. And I really like this card. Rather than just MSing a random one, I'd rather just wait for my opponent to use something, then I can, you know, my Body of Shield that outplayed too good. I love this card. If you guys didn't know, this card was actually meta at one point, but you know, obviously things replaced it. But I still think it's an okay card, especially in a deck where you're basically, it's a cheese deck. I love this card in cheese decks anyways. It's really good. And then we have 3 copies of Monarch Stormforth, which is really fantastic in this deck. Again, this is what makes this deck better than the Jeff Jones one if you're playing side by side, because you can get rid of your opponent's cards and you're not going to have any monsters in the way of your OTK, and then it also makes it so they can't honest you if you're playing against, you know, other archetypes. This card is just overall a really strong card. I've played this deck and basically against the people, every time I see people play the KOZMOs deck, it's literally card for card, and that's why, like, he runs 2 Torrential. I know there's one's Torrential Rebirth, but we'll get to that in a second. It's supposed to be another Torrential, but basically you counter with the 2 My Bodies, and then from there you're pretty much good to go, because of course you're tributing their stuff, because a lot of times they'll throw out one monster and they expect to just be able to Honest or Dueling out of it, and with this it's just like, no, you can't. I love this for that. The only exception is like Gores, and even then sometimes you can get around that by just going into main phase 2. And what I love with this build specifically is being able to get out multiple cards with the Overdrive Teleporter, and then maybe later on I can go for a rank 4 play. It allows you to do that really easy with Jurageto because he just spell summons himself. So I really like the Overdrive Teleporter specifically because not only does it get rid of something, but it allows you to make a rank 4 much, much easier than summon a monster, maybe your opponent attacks and you drop the Jurageto or Honest, then you have to wait a turn. Whereas this one is, you're going to be able to get out 2 KOZMO Farm Girls with the Overdrive Teleporter, get rid of your opponent's monster, because you're going to be normal summoning this guy by triggering your opponent's thing, and then you get 2 Farm Girls, then you get double Searchers after that, then if you have like a Jurageto, maybe a Good Witch, you're just basically, you've won at that point, and especially if you have an E-Tally, it's win harder card. You can also E-Tally then Tribute for this, that's also another option. You're just going to get out all your Farm Girls. Like I said, it doesn't matter, it's a cheese build, so it's like one trick pony, like you basically go, it's get rich or die trying by 50 Cent right here. As far as the extra deck, the things that I make the most often in this is usually just a rank 4. Usually it's Cowboy to burn off if they happen to have a monster. Let's say I don't happen to have Honest, or I don't happen to have Dark Hole or the Regeki, or I didn't tribute their card. For whatever reason, if they survive, which usually they don't, I have access to a Cowboy. At one point I was trying Upstart just so I can have extra consistency, but a lot of times I would rather just not have that, and I would have just rather had Shared Ride, so I just decided, you know, I don't really even need them, just because I wanted the deck to be more consistent, and I actually really like having double, well, at one point I was doing double Gorses in like the same other build. I just decided, I'm playing 3 Overdrive Teleporter, I might have wonky hands. I really like having 3 of these, simply because not only is it a target with Sacred Sword 7 stars that I really don't care about, like if I happen to have this, I don't care if I have to Sacred Swords this, but sometimes you want to keep at least one of these Forerunners in your hand because it helps you OTK. Obviously, you can still search it, but you know, sometimes you have multiple, you need that other last one because this one is a 7 monster, whereas the KOZMO Slip Rider, he's unfortunately not. I wish, like, there's so many times where I wish this card was actually just 7 because it would make it so much easier to go into like the other cards. A lot of times you can also make this so your opponent can't play anything, otherwise they just instantly lose because they're going to be taking 500 damage if they do anything, basically. So I love making this guy. It's usually like these 2 cards that I make in this deck. It's like the burn ones to try to finish them off. But for the most part, you can go ahead and make anything. There's also the Ancient Pixie Dragon, which I'm not really going to use at all, simply because I don't play the field spell. If you do play the field spell, you know, obviously Ancient Fairy Dragon's a fantastic card too. But the reason why there are synchros in here, originally there was Yuki Usagi or Ghost Ogre. That I main decked that card. I main decked one, and then I decided I don't really need it. But you know, sometimes your opponent might give you a tuner. It doesn't happen too often, but there are times where it happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! I was also considering running Soul Charge, just so I can be like, oh, I can make stuff much easier, but this deck is oriented around OTKing, especially this build, specifically, it's a cheese one-trick pony type of deck, like I mentioned before. These are the cards that I actually took out, so you'll see them in the other builds, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the top competitive build, because this is basically what everyone's using, and again, if you guys match up against this deck, if you run my build, it actually has a better matchup. At least I think it does. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Because you're just able to just be like, no, I win, because you don't have the Honest. Like, Shared Ride is supposed to be used to prevent other people from OTKing you and going through their cards, but it doesn't matter if you have no, you can't Honest your monster. I tribute your monster, it's gone. What are you going to do with the Regeki and stuff? Because I'm never going to really have a monster out on board. I'm just going to wait for you to have a monster, and I'm going to keep myself alive with Gores. That's the only thing that can maybe keep them alive in the mirror match, but just go for OTK or nothing. Anyways, this is Jeff Jones build, so shout out to Jeff Jones for making this deck, and I think he has a really good concept of this deck because everything is basically like draw power or like OTK oriented. Gores technically prevents you from being OTK'd, but if you're able to drop a Gores, then follow up next turn with, you know, a Farm Girl play, then you basically are going to be winning anyways because you have a, you know, a big beater. Especially if you can Gores, I feel like one thing that's really good in this game is being able to Gore someone, then you Regeki after summoning a Denko. It's like, yo, I go ahead and Gores, and then I summon Denko, I Regeki you, and then I go ahead and finish you off. Because, like, at that point, you have Gores, you have Token, you have Denko, and they can't use any of the back row, and you just clear their monster lineup. But anyways, no Denkos in here, boys. Anyways, so this is Jeff Jones' build. He's got 3... basically everything, which is 3 of the Forerunner, 3 of the Slip Rider, 3 of the Good Witch, and 3 Farm Girls. That's the lineup for the KOZMOs. And then he's playing 2 Gores instead of 3. You can mix and match, you know, try things yourself, see what you like. And then he's got 3 copies of Jurageto, 2 copies of Honest, and then 3 copies of Maxi, Regeki, 2 Sacred Sword, 2 Dark Hole, 3 Shared Ride, Book of Moon, Limiter, 3 E-Tellies, and 3 KOZMO Town, which is actually a really great card. I didn't feel like I needed it in my build. My build is a cheese build. And then he has 2 Torrential Tributes. Torrential Tributes technically at 1, but in the ARG format, it's at 2, I believe. So that is the difference. In like, if you're playing regular, I mean, you can try out other things. You can maybe try out a Ghost Ogre, just one of them, so you can have a chance to go into synchros if you need to. But pretty much, I use his build for reference. But my build definitely is oriented around cheesing. So if you like doing like stuff making your opponent extra salty, because it's really easy to pull off. Basically, in this deck, let me just get rid of this. Like, there's so many different ways to OTK in the deck, but the most common way is literally just having these 2 cards. Or you could technically use E-Telly and then tribute for it, but I think it's more effective if you're getting rid of your opponent's card, especially if your opponent has a card that you can't get rid of. There's a problem with it. It's like it's preventing you from maybe special summoning or something like that. Maybe a Christia, you just like tribute it and go for the Overdrive Teleporter. I love this card. It's such a great card, and I was surprised no one even just like played 1 in the deck, because you have technically, probably not going to get this card out by tributing. Maybe you can tribute like a Gorse token if it's weak or something. But for the most part, you get to tribute 1 for this. And this card's not bad, because if this card is normal or special, you get to pop a back row. And on top of that, of course, if you're getting rid of your opponent's monster, it's really good. And if this card is destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and you get to spell some 1 level 4 KOZMO monster from deck. So it's got a really good effect, and it just helps out with those hands that aren't so great when you have like the high level monsters. But anyways, those are 2 different builds, guys. Try them out, see what you like. Maybe add in some your own tech. You can maybe come up with some other ideas that we can try out, because I like trying stuff, being more innovative rather than just copying. But there's nothing wrong with copying. That's the point of a deck profile in the first place. You can get you guys started. Like, you can use like the core set, whether you want to use his or mine. It's totally cool. Nothing against net decking for me. I just personally have more fun making my own decks. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Azneyes signing out. Actually, Will Smith signing out.